Yep, I think the recording is started. So welcome Swapnal to the mock interview session with SLT Learning. So today we're gonna take your mock interview and based on that, I will share my feedback to you where you need to improvement and how you can take further on your QA career. Okay. So I can see in your resume, okay, that you got around 22 years of experience in software testing, which is really amazing. And you have worked on most of the area of the manual and automation tester. That is one of the best things I can see in any of the resumes so far, the mock interviews I'm taking. So let's we do one thing. Let's we start your quick. I will just say I would like to know more about you. So I would like to know your like how you started your journey and how you completed 22 years, right? And what you feel that get you the uh, I would just say is the uh, important point in your career where you feel you should have learned that particular part to remain strong in the market. So let's start with your introduction.
Yeah, hi Ankit. Yeah, thanks for taking this mock interview. And uh, so basically, I'm in this software field for last 22 years, 22 years plus. So I started my career as a software engineer in HP Hewlett Packard company in Bangalore, and then 1 year later, like I moved on to Oracle, and since 22 years, like I'm part of the Oracle. And during this 22 years tenure, like I have been contributing as a QA engineer in various roles, like started as a junior engineer and manual tester. So a couple of years later, like when automation became a trend, like I moved on to a infrastructure project where like I started doing automation using Shell script, Perl script, and some of the Java code, and XML was also involved in that. So basically, creating certain automated agents for doing the deployment and related stuff like patching, configuration, so all the infrastructure things. And where like multi-node support, so like some kind of client-server communications was there. So there, like did a automation project from the scratch and did from the beginning, and then like later on, few engineers were recruited, and then like they joined the team. So I was working as a lead in that, and so good 8 years, like we did that project, and good part is that like due to restructuring, then I had to move to a cloud project, and but still the till today, like that project is there, and few engineers are still maintaining that. Okay, so then later, like 2016 onwards, I'm in cloud service projects where like Java is a necessity, Java Selenium is a necessity. So basically, I started. So it was a fresh product, so API was developed first. So I was doing the API testing. So I got the opportunity to develop the API testing framework using REST Assured and Java, where like all the basic like utilities, like what files related, or like how to run the jobs and the fluent wait for the API calls and things like that. Like uh, those like basic foundation utilities, and then like different helper class and other things, and service related basic infrastructure classes using Java, like I developed. So that project ran for 3 4 years, and then like again, like I was called for another service where like content management was a content management, enterprise content management product in that particular line. So storage, file storing, video storing, and then streaming of those were like part of those. So there, like I was doing again like API testing as well as UI testing using Selenium Java. And the last 3 years, I'm part of another content product where like I got an opportunity to work on like latest automation tool like Playwright TypeScript. So here also like the product is fresh, and then like we developed along with one of my colleagues the framework, like so all the utilities and helper classes, and the page object models, and then like the entire framework actually. And I have been working as a QA lead there. So that we have a 6 members team. So I am doing the sprint planning, then like the work distribution, daily stand-up, and then like customer bug verification or like handling of those bugs. And also like I am doing the QSI now along with working as an individual contributor in the team. So that's all about me. Yeah, if you have anything.
Yeah, I think, yeah, this is really amazing that you got in-depth experience in all of the area of QA. We rarely found the person like that, to be honest, because if you like, I have seen most of the people after 20 years, if they have the knowledge, they sometimes they do not go in that much depth in automation. They will become lead manager and they will remain on the, and even though sometimes most of my experience also remain on Excel, like managing the task and assigning the priority and checking the test cases if they are doing good or not. The one point I like the most is that the people are still managing your automation stuff, right? Even though you left that things, but there are the people to whom you train them, and they are still managing the automation things over there. Okay, so Swapnal, in my case, right? Let's suppose I have one application. It's a US healthcare related application, and it's a very big application. It contains the web-based variant, and then it has the mobile app as well for the doctor and nurse. And we have the APIs as well, where we take the few of the I will just say the medicine codes and all those things from the third party. Okay, and I would like your quality strategy. Okay, for the large enterprise application and how you can define the strategy for the multiple teams and how you can define the release, or I will not just say the release from the SDLC point of view, but how you gonna maintain the release among the QA team. What will be your good to go to the production, or on which area we will not allow the release to go to the production. So I want to understand that part from you based on your experience. Okay, how you will define the quality strategy for the last large applications for the multiple teams. That is the in short my question.
Yeah, so basically, I'll go through the all the functional spec and the product related documentation to understand like what is the product all about, and I also will try to understand what all platforms this product can be run on, like whether mobile devices, whether in tabs, whether in the computer, like what all browsers, and where all like whether there is a applications inbuilt in that particular web application. So there will be small applications in the web applications. In my case, like there was applet based application. So basically, to understand in depth about the product, and then we need to see like what all already developed, what all maybe already QA work is done, or like if it is a fresh products, like we need to see like what are the areas are upcoming, and how the release cycle will be, like how many days are available for QA for execute the QA cycle. So basically,
Hmm.
like whether 2 week sprint or like 4 week sprint, so hardly QA gets a time in agile approach like to test it. So what we have seen, like even though like it is defined that like almost 50-60% times are taken by developer, and then like remaining 40% times are taken by QA. So but in reality we have seen that 80% 90% times are taken by developer, only 20%, sometimes certain cases like 30% times we can get to execute our test strategy, whatever like.
Okay.
So within that, we have to fit in like what are the available resources, and what are the quality checks we need to do, and how much we need to do manually, how much we need to do or in automated way, uh, and what are the we need to see the story pipelines also, like how many stories are created by the
Hmm.
developer. So
Hmm.
we need to go story by story or like epic by epic to see that what are the workload are given to QA.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, that makes sense. But couple of things I would like to give you here, right? Like as a 22-year of experience person, right? You need to be in an interview in such a way where you need to speak few of the keywords, okay? Like a risk management, right? You got my point. Your
correct.
question,
Yeah.
your answer was, I will just say, is 90% correct. Okay, even 100% correct. But
Mm.
it was more kind of the answer from the 10 plus year of QA automation lead, or who is managing the sprint planning and all those things, right? Why I ask this question, like quality strategy, right? I want to hear the word risk management, then company compliance, then test planning, right? You got my point. These are the
Yeah,
things,
got.
because see, uh, after 22 years, right, you have to stand out somewhere. And what makes you stand out, they know, they, most of the people will not ask you the write the code or something like that, trust me, right? They trust on you because you have the experience, you know how to do that part, okay? And nowadays we have many things where we can utilize those things, right, your experience, and we can tackle this out. But the thing is that the mindset, okay? So go with like that way. I will go with the risk management, I will see the resource risk, then I will see the resource available with me, like the servers and all those things, couple of things, right? Then what is the company's compliance, because it's that's why I intentionally told you it's a US healthcare, right? Because when you hear few of the domain, you need to think about the compliance, right? Because there will be definitely some compliance as a quality engineer you need to tackle down. Okay, you got my point.
Yeah, I got your
Then,
point. Correct. Yeah.
yeah, then the thing is that I ask you, okay, when you allow to go to the production, why? Because I want you to speak about the exit criteria. Okay, what will be the exit criteria from the QA side? So those are the things, right? Those are the things. See, in interview, right? If you want to do really good, just catch the keywords. If you speak about the keywords, right, that will make more sense. Trust me.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Test level like UI testing, API testing, I will try to see the database. I will try to understand their first things. It's a healthcare application. I will try to understand what is a backend and what is a front end, in which
Mm.
technology it has been developed. And based on that, I will choose the automation. Okay, I will define my strategy. I will define across the different teams, right? So again, when it comes to different teams, like I will make sure my automation is like that way, like I can easily develop the testing or test sheet for the different department wise as well, if they want, different role wise if they want. Okay, so that kind of things will make you outstand, because 22 years, it's a big number. Okay, first things. And very rare people achieve that. So if somebody hiring you, they will not hire you for the small things. Trust me,
Yeah,
they
correct.
are
Correct. Yeah.
looking for a big things from you. You got my
Mm.
point?
Yeah, got it.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. Now, how do you balance, right? Let's suppose most of the time, this is the also I face the challenge in my work, okay? The speed of the quality, right? How you manage the quality when we have the agile going on and multiple sprint, and then the backlog and all those come through the QA, right? And as you said in your previous answer, right? Most of the time, QA engineer will have less time to retest or test the actual requirement or the story point. Okay, so how you gonna tackle that situation for your team? I will just say for your team, because I want you to you have at least 7 people in your team, and how you will tackle those situations like sprint planning for your quality for your QA team. Okay, when you have the frequent changes and frequent requirement to be delivered in 2 week sprint. So what will be your strategy? How you will
Yeah.
guide your QA team? Yeah.
Correct, correct. Yeah. So yeah, that is a challenge, and I am always like up to that challenge. So basically, as I said, like basically we need to quantify the work. We need to see that what is the priority of those work, and then like how those work needs to be distributed. Again, like if required resources are available to finish those particular tasks within that particular timeline given to us. If anything, there is a risk factor, like we won't be able to execute, or like there could be a delay from the developer, which we can think of like, okay, this has been the hist earlier also, this is the risk factor. So we factor in those risks and then see that okay, we go in this particular path, say like multiple releases will be going on. So yeah, we need to tackle that, and then like what are the activities are there. So if with the same priorities needs to be given to both the releases, or like lesser priority, and where what will be our stress strategy, like whether we have to execute all the test, or like we have to execute some part of the test for a particular release. Things like that we need to see. And then like if there is a so basically like the most priority is the signing of the build or like the sprint. So, so within that, like second priority would be coming like finishing the automation and closing the stories actually. So story closing as a like subtask of like finishing the exploratory testing and then doing writing the test document and then like finishing the automation also. So we need to see like whether we can keep some of the tasks in those, like say exploratory testing will be like the must actually to for the QSI now. Then like second task would be like finishing the document, and then third would be like automation. So if you can't finish everything, like what are the things needs to be going to the backlog actually, and keeping the management in that particular loop that okay, these are the things we can finish and this will go to the backlog. If we are okay, then we'll move ahead. Otherwise, we need to move out this particular story from this particular sprint. So these are the things, and then like the hand holding part for the team. So there will be junior resources and then senior resources. So some resources will not move along like as we expect. So we need to see that like okay, they are also on the track daily basis, and then see that if they are stuck also, like we need to spend time on that actually, like where they are stuck, what is the problem they are facing, and if we can help them to expedite their process actually. So these are the strategies. Along with that, like documentation, keeping the checklist, doing the daily stand-up meetings, see that like things are moving forward and we are not stuck. So these are the things. So ultimate goal would be like I need to sign up a particular release actually. Yeah.
Exactly, makes sense. So
Mm,
the key thing is if we have like this kind of environment, right? And most of the project like run like this way, like they have
mm,
the frequent things and 2 week sprint or 4 week sprint. 4 week sprint you will rarely see. Mostly people follow 2 week sprint. So what will happen, right? You sometimes you have to guide your team member, right? The buzz button. This is what I call, right? So you are as a manager, right? You cannot be everywhere, right? Trust me, because when you're working as a QA lead or somewhere, you must be handling the three, four things or five things at a time, and you have couple of resources. So you have to make your team to think like that way. Okay. So the thing is that everybody wants to work, right? The key thing is that you need to make sure your resources are actually working. You got my point. This is looks
correct.
bit weird, but this is the reality when people started working from home. Okay. You have to make sure. So the key thing is that you need to tell them, you need to press the button. Okay. I will just press the buzz button when you block. You should not wait for anybody. You should not wait for me as well, right? Try to create the separate group for separate story with the developer, include me. Okay, this is how what you can see. You can easily see the blockers. Okay, okay, over here my resource got blocked. So this kind of strategy, right, nowadays will help as a senior resource very well to maintain the QA resource, the junior resource, right? Because otherwise junior resource will sit and they will wait for you to ask. This is,
Correct.
I think 80 to 90% there are 10% resource who are take the responsibility and they will come upfront and ask you, okay, sir, I have block over here. The developer is not responding, or this story still we have to pass it today, but still it did not get on QA lane. So what we should do? So this is the first things. Always make sure the team has this mentality. Okay, nobody will gonna ask you upfront if we are working on this kind of tight deadline. You should go upfront and press the buzz button. Okay, the second thing is that raise the daily scrum. Okay, that is, people maybe think okay it's about just an update, but I will just say it's more kind of update. Okay, more than you just provide your daily task update. If any blocker, you should raise over there as well. Okay, let's suppose I have two story to pass and I do not have much time as a QA, right? So in scrum call I can say okay, there are two more story which assigned to me. I have prepared the test case, but they are still not came to me for actual testing. Okay, and tomorrow is the last day, so at least I need that story in my QA lane by end of today. So tomorrow I will get at least 8 to 10 hours to do the testing. Otherwise it will be hard for us. So if they say like this way, right, everybody in a scrum call will understand. You
Correct.
got my point, because
Yeah. Yeah.
some, yeah, sometimes pinging a developer is also not a good choice. Trust me.
Correct. Yes.
They maybe have multiple tasks, they are doing their job in a different way. So this is always the point. You should highlight in a proper way. Okay, I would like to do my things are ready as a QA when story got assigned. I prepare my test case, but how I should execute? It's still not in a QA. Okay, still not on a staging environment or the QA
Correct.
environment. So these are the things you should always tell your team. Okay, tell your team to be prepared with. Okay, now let me tell you. Okay, so how you rate the best strategy? Okay, let's suppose you have a team of 5 people. Okay, like they are the manual and QA automation experience. So how you will rate or how you will I will just say is the judge their QA efficiency, if they are if they are doing really good QA for you, or they are not going, or you require them to train on certain area, right? So as a QA, how you will identify the gap, or you can say, okay, they are doing good. So how you will define that? What is your parameters to judge your team based on their QA performance? How you can define their effectiveness in the project?
So basically, end of the day, as a lead, like the effectiveness of the team depends on or like responsibility rely on me. That's how I have been working all along, and it has worked always well. So basically, I need to identify the individuals of the team, and every individual works in different style. And yeah, as you said, like some will be proactive to complete the work, or like if there is any blocking issue, they will be proactive to take the steps. But some resources they won't be proactive by nature. So I need to see like whether they are
Mm.
stuck or like they have. So basically, I need to give an idea, say like create a separate group, like as you said, like temporary group with the developer. First ping them like whether they are available for a meeting or like clarification, or like
Yeah,
if anything needed, like okay, these are the things data I have, what is the say a simple thing like what is the timeline for the delivering this particular thing for testing. So those things, or like if there is a technical challenges to understand, like okay, we don't understand what is getting developed. So as you know, like in agile approach, like documentation is not complete always. Developers will be like use under huge pressure to complete their task, like always like they won't deliver the complete documentation to understand like what is being delivered and what is needs to be tested. So basically, like we need to ask individual resources to see that like okay, you get the adequate data, keep me in loop, if or like keep me in the meeting so that I can also ask you questions, or like I understand like where we stand, like whether complete data is there or not. So this is one part with the developer. Then there is ad hoc things comes, like some ad hoc testing will come in between, some ad hoc task, like say some customer few SRs will come to see that we need to see like why we didn't catch those issues, or like why those got skipped, or like why customer is seeing in their environment, why it is not in test environment, whether there gap in testing, gap in environment, or like there is a really a code bug, or like that is not a bug. So those kind of things will come in it. So basically, individually, I have to see, and some individuals we need to track maybe frequently to see that where what are their challenges, because they will not open up for their challenges. Also, like it is difficult, like where they stand. Actually, they would say like it will be completed in time, but ultimately it won't get completed, and I am responsible that it is
exactly,
not completed. So basically, I need to understand individual mind and to go as per that.
exactly,
But at the same time, I don't believe in micromanagement.
exactly.
Yeah, correct. Because people are not so comfortable with the micromanagement. So
Exactly.
basically, friendly communication along with like frequent tracking and see that where we stand. Or like certain cases, like they would be having certain personal challenges, like they need to go visit
Exactly.
hospital, school, colleges, wherever. So sometime like work needs to be reallocated actually to someone else, or like maybe I have to own that actually, or like I need to give it to someone else, or like I can own the some part of it, like say getting the information, all the details, and then move it to someone else. Uh, so this kind of approach I follow actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you said that is completely, I will agree. The avoid the micromanagement. You cannot expect, right? Sometimes, yeah, that they should deliver or they should attend all the meetings. Sometimes they maybe have some emergency, all those things, right? But at that part, we expect they should update. right? They should update you. Okay, this is my emergency. I will. That's the reason I'm skipping the meeting. Okay, and when you want to work with a team, right? It's not about you judge them every day. If any new team member will get added, if you work him with him for one sprint or two sprint, you will easily understand. Okay, he is genuinely doing good. I do not require to put the tracker on him. You got my point. This has happened to me. Like when I work with some people, right? I in one or two sprint, I realize okay, he's up to the mark. It don't require to go after him or track his work, right? But some resource you will find okay, you have to ask about the update, and you will see there is no comment on their stories on daily basis, which we normally expect in sprint as well. People expect you, if you're working on something, you put your daily update on the story or tickets or Jira point, anything. Okay, so that will be the things. Other things you can go with like their see the defect they're raising. Let's we start with the requirement, how they read the requirement. This is the crucial point, how they read the
Correct.
requirement, right?
Correct.
Sometimes,
Correct.
and that came from the experience, trust me, right? How to
Mm.
go with the different areas and all those things. So if let's suppose I am your junior, right? And you're gonna judge, you're gonna see what capable I am. So what you should do, like you should see if you assign me some work, how I start by test case creation, what scenario I am including. Okay, if you guide on that point initially part, right, they will understand. Okay, this level of depth I need to do the testing, because test coverage, test scope, and all those things will come eventually from the experience itself. The fresher will not understand more about. They have the keywords positive, negative testing, but they do not know the actual meaning. So the test coverage, how you go in depth for that particular requirement, think about the different scenario based on the actors. I will just say the roles are involved for that requirement, right? So based on that, just guide them things. The second things I will just say is during the testing, right, how you they document their evidence. Okay, are they capturing the enough screenshot to save the QA from if any hurdle happen in the future? Okay, so this is another crucial part, right? It's not about just on Jira or any test trail or any manual. You just says pass, pass, pass. No, you should have the evidence. Okay, you should have the screenshot or you should have the recording of your testing. Otherwise, it won't make that much effective. In future, if something goes wrong, you should have a screenshot or recording to showcase. Okay, at that time I tasted and that was working fine. Okay, because nowadays most of the product will go with the multiple environment like staging, QA, dev, then production, right?
Correct.
And we have to make sure if that was working on staging, it should work on production. Different company have the different strategy. So for that one, the evidence are really good, must be there. Evidence
Must be
for
there.
every
Yeah.
testing must be there. Then bug raising, right? How they raising the bug. Some people says one line in the summary just okay, this I'm clicking over here, it is not working. That's it. Right? And what that will create? That will create the back and forth between the QA and developer, and that will take their times. Okay. So if they're raising a bug, make sure you educated them in initially itself. This is my as a lead, this is my policy to raise a bug. You should
Correct.
have a screenshot. You should have this detail in depth, right? So template, we normally call it bug template. You should have a bug template ready for them so they can follow, right? Initially for junior, you have to tell them this is what you need to follow. Put this information. If you don't know about the information, ask me. They will ask you 5 times, but from the sixth time they will realize okay what exactly they need to put. Then once bug raised, then how they are doing the bug retesting. This is also crucial. Okay, so these are the things, right? And again, if they are raising too many bugs, right, you need to also identify which are the valid or not valid. So based on that, if you do this practice for at least one or two sprint with any individual, right, it will be it will give you lots of things in your mind where you need to train him. If it's really lack of the process of the lack of the knowledge on QA strategy, or if on automation side learning will be always there, right? But initially mindset you can develop by judging this kind of the criteria. Okay, so your question was your answer was on top notch. You said that really perfect, but add some more scenarios like this way.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm. Correct. Yeah.
makes sense, right? Okay,
Mm.
now Can you tell me what are the risks you have seen so far in your experience? Risks while doing the testing for the big application. Okay, I want you to include all kind of risk, right? Or like take the resource, then machines, then software, tools, anything, right? I want you to include all those things. So can you give me the list of risk you have seen in the system while doing the testing, end-to-end testing?
Yeah, so the biggest risk or like the challenge is the in agile approach is the getting the build in time. So getting the product which is ready for testing, that is the biggest risk, and the entire schedule can change based on like when we get the product or the build or the feature for testing. Then second risk is our resources. Some resources may fall sick, some resources may not be up to the mark with the requirement analysis or like the with the tech that we are developing freshly. So that is the second challenge of risk. The third is the most frequently faced is like the ad hoc work. So certain ad hoc works may come. Okay, so basically like we don't test certain like language support or like the RTL support, like right to left support in AI, things like that, or like what do you call, I'm forgetting the name, the basically the blind people, and then those kind of testing needs to be done. So those kind of ad hoc work may come from the release management who are not concerned about the sprint cycle, but they want like certain customers, say like Arabic customer or like Saudi Arabia, one of the customers, like they want to adopt the product and they want certain features or like the entire product needs to be tested for that particular language, that particular language approach, like say like they write in right to left in UI, things like that. So basically those ad hoc works or like the customer works, as I said earlier. So ad hoc works may come in between. So they are the challenges actually. Then we have the challenge of the environment. So maybe product would have changed uh, the platform, like say like Java platform or like certain libraries are used for UI development. Those library fundamental libraries are changed. So then the QA automation or like the way we test the entire thing may change or like certain part may change. So those challenges we need to think upfront and then we face frequently. And then like we have the automation failure, like say like the Jenkins is upgraded or like the GitHub is upgraded or like the OS is upgraded and the things start failing or like the particular slave machine or like the server machine was used for the I mean basically environment related, so that has been decommissioned because of certain OS support is decommissioned. So then like we need to move our entire infrastructure to the supported environment, things like that actually are daily challenges, yeah, regular
Makes
challenges,
sense.
yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
that makes sense. Yeah, totally agree. And sometimes let's suppose if you're working with offshore team, right? Offshore onshore model, okay, and few of the testing we need to do on certain machines, right? This is happened to me with my team. And then we have the limited machines available, like you have to remote to that machine, and on that kind of application, you can only test from that machine only, right? So at that time, the actual I would just say the virtual machines shortage will cause the struggle for my team. Yeah, that makes totally sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So that we have also faced actually. Like say certain,
exactly,
we still support like certain applet application which is not used
we need to
with the.
decide, okay, which one is priority, and we need to ask the source, okay, go with that one, and then you can test, and then let the team know so somebody else can pick up the machine. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
want you to share your screen. I want couple of things to be need to ask. Okay.
yeah,
It will be little bit I will just say is process point of view. Still I'm not going to ask you to write
mm,
the code and all those things, okay?
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, perfect. Yeah, you can open notepad. Yeah, that's
yeah,
perfectly
mm,
fine. Now I want, okay, so let's suppose uh you are a QA automation engineer, uh, leave the lead as of now, okay? And There is a product which is web based and the mobile based application. Okay, and I want you to write the strategy. Okay, when I just says write the strategy, I want the key points, how you start and what tools you will include. Okay, then we will talk about those tools, why you include. Let's suppose it's a web-based application, it contain the mobile testing as well. Okay, and API testing will be there, so you need
Mm,
to choose, you need to plan accordingly. Okay, these three things keep in mind. Okay, then what tools and what language you're gonna select. Okay, based on your experience, that's totally fine. If you know the Selenium in the best way, you can go with Selenium. You know the Cypress, go with Cypress. Okay, so anything you can do. So you are a QA lead. We do not have the automation things at all. We have the manual stuffs, and also in manual side we do not have the proper written test cases. Okay,
mm,
and you joined as a QA automation, senior QA automation engineer. Okay, and I want you to define and come up with some automation things. When I just says plan, do not stuck to the plan, but I want you to just write the highlighted point. Okay, let me give you the example. First things, I will understand the current system requirement, first point. Then I will select the tools, which tools I will select, this. Then I will select the framework, which framework, this, something like that. Okay,
yeah, I think
and
this should be better.
it will
Yeah.
be good. It should, yeah, it should be come from your experience. That will be really good.
Yeah. So basically, first we need to see the existing test documentation. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, So whatever the spec, so functional spec, which obviously developer has written, then QA doc like test spec, which includes like different features. Will have a different test case documentation. Okay. So basically, we'll go through this to understand. Uh, okay, to understand testing requirement, which includes API, UI, manual, then like uh, the other side of it actually like what are the match or like minimum validations test. Then we have the functional, we have integration. Okay. Then we'll decide what are the, and then like platform wise, browser wise. So whether mobile needs to be supported, whether Mac needs to be supported, Windows needs to be supported, tab needs to be supported, and so on. Then we need to see the browser, what all browser needs to be supported, language needs to be supported, then accessibility. I was saying this, whether accessibility test needs to be supported, and so on. So based on that, we need to decide what are the whether CI/CD, CI/CD nowadays like everybody is using,
Yeah.
so we need to use that actually. So based on that, like what are the tools can be deployed? I mean,
Okay.
whatever the outside, irrespective of the this testing requirement, like we would have some knowledge about like whether to go for Selenium or like the Playwright or like Cypress or like Python,
Yeah, but I want,
PyTech.
I want you
Mm.
to decide. I want you to decide. You have free hand, right? I want you to decide which one you should go. I
So
have,
now,
yeah, application has UI testing, web-based testing, mobile testing, and API testing. This is the three my criteria. I do not want to go with performance side. I do not want to go with the database testing. This is the three criteria that you need to accomplish. So I want you to choose the tools as well. Like which tool is gonna choose and why you gonna choose. We will discuss later on that part.
correct. So basically, we need to now assess the team. Okay. So
Hmm.
what are the knowledges
Yeah.
we have existing in the team?
Mm-hmm.
whether we have any key resource who can do the POC, proof of concept.
Mm-hmm.
Then,
No, but
uh,
see, again, you are the first QA automation. That's why I tell you in the first things. You are the first QA automation engineer.
okay,
Okay.
okay. Then I need
Nobody's
to do.
there, right?
Mm,
Exactly, exactly. So
okay,
think like that way. And
okay.
then the training to the QA, right? So what you should take the take the tools and technology in such a way that you are fully aware. You can easily transfer the knowledge to the juniors. You can make them ready in 1 or 2 months to support you in automation. You got my point? So think like that way.
Correct, correct. Yeah. So basically, then like I need to see the product requirement and
Mm-hmm,
the all these things like whether we need to do API testing, UI testing, and then like what are the browser supports, what are the
mm-hmm,
as you said, like speed is not that important. So basically,
mm-hmm.
based on my knowledge and my if whatever the existing knowledge, like whether if I know the Selenium, I'm just giving you an example. If I know the Selenium on the Playwright, and I have written test cases using this tool like earlier, and then I know like what is the drawback of Selenium and Playwright, and so basically since API is there, and in modern day today, if we are talking like we would be like preferring a one tool which will support both API uh, plus UI testing, so that like there is a common framework and the helper method like whatever like needed, and there are certain data approach for UI testing like where API can help like to generate those data. So basically we will try to select the API plus UI common thing. So if I go for Selenium, and then like we need to use like REST Assured or some other package to develop the API testing. Okay. So if it is a pure UI, then I will go for Selenium, and since API and UI is there, and then there are a few other challenges, like in Selenium, like the flakiness and other things. So I would prefer like Playwright to be used for the testing actually. Yeah, and then the
Okay. So
tools and
see,
other things. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So you can decide Playwright. Just write down the language will be your JavaScript, the automation tool will be your Playwright,
mm,
right? Then why you choose that? It's a secondary part. You got my point. I
yeah,
want you to just write down those things. Okay. Then what is your automation framework you're gonna select? You're gonna go with the page object model, or
yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna select any other things. So that like that way, you can go with that part.
Framework will be hybrid kind of framework. So that is hybrid in sense
Mhm.
like the modular plus
Yeah,
page object model will be followed. Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah. So basically, like we'll create the libraries for modular approach,
Mm.
and we'll break down the entire code structure, and then page object models like where like we'll maintain the pages as a class, and the supporting methods in the same class, locators, constants, and the methods in the uh, page classes. Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. So then, yeah. So then, like a POC will be there. Then
No,
once we are
still you
fine.
need to think about no. Still you need to think about the mobile testing, right? What approach you gonna do with the mobile testing? Then you need to
Yeah, okay.
select your source control management. Source control, what exactly you gonna with? Like you gonna go with the Git or any other source control things?
Yeah. So source control, it is always good to have like what developers are using.
Mm-hmm,
The same repo, or like we can create a new repo. Mostly like we use different repo for QA these days. So
mm-hmm.
we'll use
Yes,
the
yes.
same source control so that like
Mm,
the codes are accessible actually with the same account. We can sometimes pull in the developer's code and see also like if it is needed, but mostly it is not needed. But some cases we need actually. So we'll use the dev
mm-hmm,
repo, dev source control. Uh,
Makes sense.
so that will be like say like Git mostly in or like Bitbucket in some project. So
Okay.
things like that,
Makes sense.
and yeah, and the the CI/CD tools mostly like these days like Jenkins. We need to see by like what are the availability in the company itself. Like okay, company is supporting Jenkins or like the GitHub or like whatever so in my case like it was Jenkins. So whatever like company is supporting, if company is not doing anything, then we can decide actually like what are the availability and what are the licenses are needed, and based on like I think costing they will decide. But yeah, we can give one or two options. So like say like Jenkins in this case.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for API,
For API, we'll use still like Playwright,
makes
then
sense.
mobile browser, Playwright itself will support.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mobile app, so far I have not done, but yeah, tools like Appium and other things are there for if we need to test app. And yeah,
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So these kind of questions, why I'm asking you, right?
yeah,
It's see, the market is very, it's not always give you what you want. You
correct.
got my point.
Mm,
So sometimes, let's suppose they like the way you are answering, but they most of the companies always do not have the senior position open. There will be always a one person who will be sitting over there after like
mm,
spending 10, 15 years in the same company, right? So
mm.
that is the one hurdle. So I want you to brush up few things on automation side. Okay, you should be quick enough, okay, to answer few things on automation as well. Because they might be looking as a QA automation lead in you. You got my point. It's they do
Correct.
not
Yeah,
want QA manager or QA lead who know this strategy and all those things. They want somebody who actually go and put the hand on blood. You got my point, like doing the
correct,
actual
correct. Yeah,
automations and then train the team accordingly. Okay. So at that time, we should be confident enough to answer these kind of questions. If and trust me, this is the easiest one. When somebody
correct.
asks you to start from scratch, it will be always easiest. If they will ask you, okay, we already have something and you need to come up and you need to mm, uh, match up the speed and all those things, that sometimes it is become challenge for anybody, okay,
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
match up the speed. So
Mm.
that is the one things, okay. So now let's talk about how when you're doing the automation, right? So let's suppose there is a management or there is a product team, right? They ask you, okay, do the automation on everything. Okay, so let's suppose they have 10 modules, they have around 100 requirements, and you think there are in a manual test case there are 500 test cases is there, and they want you to do the automation on all the things. Okay, so how you will come up with the good approach, because we all know, right, the 100% automation may be not feasible, or sometimes the automation it's not possible on certain area, right? So how you will start your analysis, okay, this is the good uh, case to do the automation, and this is not the good case to do the automation. I want couple of example from your experience, from your project as well, which you think, okay, we should not do the automation on this part, we should always go with the manual check. Okay, so yeah, this is the question.
Yeah, so basically the number one priority is given to like what are the critical things for the customers, like or like critical work UI flows, like which customer will go through the daily basis. So it is good to have automation for those if there are no challenges like system wise. So usually there won't be any challenges in those. And there are certain areas like functionality customer will rarely go through actually say like certain archiving of the stuffs and all like or like similar kind of things like they won't go through frequently or like they will go through at the latest stage of the life cycle of the product. So based on that, like say like login screen or like adding to the cart for a e-commerce site or like for health checkups, like again like selecting the what are the things they need. So those kind of flows, like they will go through the daily basis. So that automating those things and not having any critical break in those areas is a topmost priority. Then like we have certain areas like where like for testing those like we need to reboot the system or like we need to modify certain things in the system and then restart probably, or like things like that, or like dependency on the proxies and other things. So where like sometime like automating those like would be a challenge. So still try to automate those, but we'll first try to automate things which are low hanging, daily used by customers, and things like that. Then we have,
Okay.
yeah, please.
Yeah. So let's, as you said, right, where some area like where we require proxies and all those things, sometimes the captcha and all, they are the
Mm,
always hurdle. Okay. And which you can do, like you can ignore the captcha and test their environment or QA environment, and you can run your automation script. But in production, it is not in sorry, in staging, sometimes you have to keep the same exact functionality as on your production. Okay.
correct. Mm,
And you said okay, these are the 10 points we can do the automation, and these are the 5 points we should not go with the automation to the management. Okay, now management still wants you to do, and you know that things that this is not possible. Okay, as a automation, this is not possible. The management is not that much technical, but they feel okay, automation is always good and we need everything to be automated. They want, sometimes they want after 6 months or 1 year, they want to remove the dependency of the QA team. So that's why they feel we should do automation on everything. So, okay,
correct.
so what will be your approach to, let's suppose you have a call with them, you have a meeting with them, what will be your approach to tell them, to convince them in that area, okay, this is not the proper candidate for the automation in your testing.
Yeah, so basically, we need to see there are two parts. One is ROI, like what is the return we are getting by automating those. Basically, what is the effort needs to be put in, and what is the return we are getting. So that we need to clearly quantify, or like tell the objectively to the management to see that okay, this is the reason like why we should not go for automation. And then there are technical challenges. Okay, these are the technical things. So because of that, we can't automate those, or like, uh, and still, like, if they push for it, like, we can give a approach where like semi-automated things can be done. Say, like, certain area testing, like data uploading part can be automated, but validation and cross-checking can be done manually. Say, like accessibility tests. So certain things we can only manually test them actually. Like it is not too good to have
Exactly.
like yeah, automated way to check that okay, things are displayed properly in different languages or not. And so they're like say like uploading a files with just say Japanese language in the file name. That can be done in automated ways. We can have a static file, we can have a dynamic file, and we can upload that. So basically, we need to break
Exactly.
down and give the granular details to the management. I think they will get convinced. Okay, okay, these are the things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm,
Exactly, exactly.
mm,
So semi-automation approach will always work over here because we need to create a win-win situation, right? They should also
correct.
understand, okay, he has done something. Okay. Otherwise, they will think, okay, we asked him and he did not do that things. Then another things, as you said, right? We need to showcase them the technical challenge in a normal way. What will be the technical challenge? So in that case, you can just come up with some POC and document few of the challenging stuff, right? Take a few screenshot from the I will just say is the well-rated forum. Okay, this is what the limitation of from the technical side. You try to have couple of teams from the tech team in your side, that will help you. You got my point. You if you
Correct.
just says okay, I talked to the dev manager and he also agree with me. If you speak like that word, then management think okay, he has come cross, he has go with the different teams and he has collect the required information, and then he's going, and that's why he's telling this is not feasible to go with the automation. Okay, now another things, it will be I will just say uh, challenging on the time frame. Okay, the time frame that you have to do the testing. Okay, so let's suppose I want you have one story. Okay, so can you remove these things, and I want to give you one story. Okay, so there is a story. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So there is a story where the account manager, okay,
Mm,
as an account manager, I want to make sure I can generate the invoice and send the invoice from the system itself. Okay, this is my requirement, basic requirement. As a account manager, I want the system to have a button which generate the invoice in PDF, and there is one more button, send invoice, which will send the invoice to the customer as well. Okay. Now this is the story that you have, right? How you will start the thinking of the time required to do the testing for this story.
Okay, so basically, so the developer will give the functional spec
Mm-hmm,
of this particular requirement or like story.
mm-hmm.
So sometime like in Agile, like functional spec may not be like the document itself, like they
So
will write in.
let me tell you, developer said we will take 20 hours to do the development of this functionality.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so hardly
20
they will
hours.
get time. Yeah, hardly they will get time. So they but still like we need to ask, like they need to write some details in the story itself,
Mm.
or like DHQA recording. So basically DHQA is developer to QA handover. Uh, so sometime like due to geographical separation, like developer could be sitting in US and QA could be in India. I think that is majority of the cases, that is the thing, or like other way around, like developer will be here, QA in US. So many times like meeting will be
No,
a challenge.
so Swapnil,
Hmm,
sorry to cut you off, right?
hmm. No, no issues,
As a
no issues.
developer, yeah, as a developer, I said this is the two button I need to implement on XYZ screen. Okay. And I will take 20 hours over here. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, as a QA, you need to identify how many hours you will take to finish that particular story testing. And in that hours, right, what exactly you will do as a QA. And think about manual QA,
So
avoid the automation. Yeah.
yeah, so basically we need to find identify the
And
test
that's fine.
cases.
If you do not do, if you do not write, that's fine. You can
Oh,
speak.
okay. Okay, fine. So basically, we need to understand the feature. We need to identify the test cases, the number of test cases, and the complexity of the test cases. So each test cases could take different times. And like the complexity of the test cases, and then like the environment required for the test case, executing those tests, say manually, say in this case. So based on that, we need to identify what are the resources available to work on those particular features, and then
Think
like
like that. You are the resource. You are the
hmm,
only resource, and you have two team members. Okay, so you are three peoples. You are managing them too.
hmm,
So you need to take the two resource with this requirement, and you need to decide the hours. Okay, this many hours we will take. You need to tell the management in a Scrum call. You need to tell your Scrum team this is the hours we would need. You need to document that things. So let's suppose you analyze something. Okay, you analyze, you go through with the requirement. You think, okay, there are 20 or 25 test cases, and if developer taking 20 hours, right, we maybe take 16 or 12 hours to do the testing. Okay, this is what you think. Okay, from my point of view, I will take 12 hours or 16 hours. Let's suppose 16 hours to do the testing. And in that 16 hours, what activity you gonna carry out as a QA, or what activity you ask your team to carry it out. So you will ask them, okay, we have 16 hours where we need to complete our STLC, software test lifecycle, right? We need to understand the requirement. We need to understand these user stories. Based on that, we need to create a test cases. We need to keep the things ready when the story will come to the QA for testing. We should have our test case ready and which are reviewed by you, right? You are a
correct,
lead,
correct.
so it should be reviewed by you. So this is the approach I was looking for. So 20 hours, because most of the companies, like when they are doing the story point evaluation for any story, right, they normally have the ratio with the dev team. So if dev
Correct.
team take that, because the complexity and all those things will already be there, right? They will
Hmm.
understand the complexity and they say, okay, we take 14 hours or 45 hours or something like that, and based on that we got the easy way to understand, okay, this is a complex functionality or this is not. And yeah, again we need to think, okay, where we need to test it. Okay, so like that way. So based on that, I want your approach.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, as you said, like yeah, we need to identify that, we need to understand the requirement, like we need to identify the test cases, and then like uh, uh, what is the resources available, like how many resources are available for executing those test cases. And based on that, like we can give the timeline, okay. And yeah, as you said, like kind of norms in the software industry that QA will take the lesser time than developer time. But yeah, there are certain cases like where, like say, like certain features is already there, probably like small change needs to be done from the developer. But whereas like for the QA, like it is entire regression needs to be done, like different platforms, different browser, and different environment testing needs to be done. So maybe developer effort will be less, but QA effort will be more. So I have faced that kind of challenges, and then like we need to convince the management, okay, this many hours is needed for testing this. So basically, like the quantum of testing needs to be done, and then what are the challenges needs are there, and then based on that, we need to give the estimate, and then uh, yeah, we need to convince the management. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now you said you give the estimate, okay, and let's suppose, can you give me some number you give to the management?
So yeah, say like 16 hours, say in this
16
case.
hours. Okay, you
Yeah.
just says okay, we need 16 hours to finish that one. Okay. Now 16 hours you have two resource. Okay, so you can decide your strategy. Like one resource per day means you need one day to do the
Correct.
testing with two resource. Okay, this is what I'm assuming, 8 hours a day for two
8 hours
resource.
a day.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Now think the story is still not on your queue. Okay. And today and tomorrow is the last day. Okay. Tomorrow is the last day, and today you are almost near to finish your day. Okay. Your team is going to be finished their day as well. So, what will be your approach? How you will be prepared for tomorrow? Suppose if the story came to your queue on a first half, right? Then also you will have less time than what you have decided. Okay. So, what will be your approach?
Yeah. So basically, in such scenarios, like we need to preempt and understand that these are the things can happen, and usually that happens in agile. So based on, see, certain cases, like we'll have the buffer like in the 16 hours itself, like if okay, if it is coming 1 or 2 hours late, like we'll still be able to handle, or like we have an additional resource which who can chip in and help.
No, you
Uh,
you don't have additional resource. That is the challenge. You got my
mm,
point. You have only these two resource for this user story. And today, let's suppose it's a 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. You're gonna wind up your day. Your team gonna end their day as well. And they have worked really hard today. And tomorrow they will come back again. Okay. So what will be your approach to them? Okay. Tomorrow, if that story, it may be possible tomorrow as well, this story did not come to you. So what will be your approach as a lead? Okay.
okay, so basically we need to understand the criticality of this particular story. Say like if we have to deliver this particular thing to customers, say like tomorrow it should go to release. Usually not tomorrow, like in a few days later, and we really don't have the time for doing the testing, or like taking more time. Then like we need to see that we need to ask all convince resources. Okay, okay, you can take a day off later, but we need to put additional effort in the evening to see that, like, okay, we need to tell very clearly, okay, this is the scenario, how we are going to, we can ask them actually, like, how can you move forward? So they will come up the solution. Okay, we'll work additional hours in the evening and finish this particular work, and then we'll see, okay, where lean period is there, okay, you can take a day off, and usually that can happen actually in a testing cycle actually. So yeah, so that is how
Mhm.
we will ask first the team, okay, and then like yeah, we need to put the additional effort whenever the build is available to
Okay.
test it. Yeah.
Okay. So now suppose you done that, okay, today, and tomorrow when the last day of that testing will come, your one of the resource got sick and he message or called you, okay, sir, I'm not able to make it today, and this is what my challenge is. Okay. So what will be your thought process over here? How you gonna tackle this situation? And yeah, in the first half, let's suppose at around 11 the developer says, okay, we are done and we are assigning the story to QA, right? So actually you estimated that is for 16 hours with two resource. So you assume in one day we cannot do that things, but now you do not have one resource, right? So you may be late with 8 hours and story assigned to you 2 hours late. So you they actually give you the 6 hours to do this testing. So what is your thought process, or what will be your actions over here, not the thought process?
Yeah, it is a real-time scenario, and we would have faced this problem like a few times in our career. So basically, first thing is that okay, based on resources and their mentality, like we will try to understand upfront that okay, they are available or not, if they have any challenges tomorrow or like later hours, like when bill will be coming. In spite of that, some real-time scenario will come up and they won't be available, like they may fall sick or like their family may need to go to hospital and things like that may come up. So in that case, uh, so my approach would be like not to be like hyper or like say and go negative feedback to the management. Say that like okay, this is a negative case, we won't be able to finish. Not that actually. So first thing, I'll try to understand calling the resource, what is their challenges, whether they can put some effort and hand over to some other resources to complete that. Second thing will be, or like additional thing would be like keeping management informed. Okay, these are the challenges that come up suddenly, and we are trying to get help from the other resources, or like I am trying to do it as a lead. But yeah, we'll try to finish, and we'll try to guess estimate that okay, whether we'll be able to finish or not, and then accordingly, like without telling negatively management that or like development team or like release management that these are the challenges, okay, and still we are trying to finish it. I would take this approach
Makes
actually.
sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Makes sense. So let me add on over here something, okay?
yeah, yeah.
So the first things, as you said, right, this is nowadays this kind of situation happen more frequently, right? So what you can do, right, as I told you, when you are creating a test case, right, you make sure you educate your team, right? In this particular user stories, these are the out of 20 test case, these are the 10 that we need to focus more, right? This is what I was doing when they are creating a test case itself. So we three know, right, as a lead and as their engineer, we three know in this particular user stories, this out of this 20, these 10s are really critical test case and we need to achieve somewhere. Okay. Now, on the previous day when it's 5 p.m., right? And when you think, okay, after 1 hours, everybody will go home and you still not have that story with you in QA. So my approach, I will send an email to the all the key stakeholder of Scrum team, right? This is the user story due tomorrow, okay? And it's a part of this current release, right? And we estimated 16 hours with two resource. So I one day you can mention everything clearly. So I expect this story to be assigned to us before, let's suppose you work from 9 to 6, right? Before 10 a.m. tomorrow. So this is not, I will just say passing the ball, but this is something you are making the team aware well advanced. Okay. This is the situation has happened. So now this situation, what will happen? This situation will go to the dev manager, okay, or the developer who is assigned to that particular ticket. Okay, they will understand, okay, we are not giving them enough time to testing, maybe it will be harder. So what they will do on that same day, previous they will try to stress themselves, or they will do from the development side. That is a part of the development lead, okay. They will try to finish their story and they make sure they will assign you before what you have mentioned in the email, okay. And you are not doing any escalation, you are just doing the informative email to the team. This is the situation. This is I call, right, praise the buzz button.
Yeah,
So
correct.
as a lead, you are doing the praising the buzz button in an email because there is no meeting. Scrum call already happened at 2 p.m. So you cannot ask everybody to come on a call, but this is what you did, important email for this particular story. Now, on a second day, right? When suppose your one of the resource did not come up, okay. Now you do not have any other resource to come up and help you on a testing. So at that time, you should go with like you know the lead by example. So you just says, okay, you and me is there. These are the 10 critical things we need to do the testing. You go stories in a QA lead, you go and start the testing. Meanwhile, I will do one approach, right? As a QA lead, I will tell these 10 cases to the management, to the Scrum, my stakeholders. So due to lack of resource, we are aiming to finish this particular business scenario testing for this particular user story. If you think anything is missing or anything from your side you want to include, just let us know. You got my point. So
Yeah,
what
yeah,
will happen in that scenario, right? If let's suppose, because see, developer also know the criticality of functionality and they know which area they want you to test. The business analyst who has defined the requirement initially, they know the from customer point of view. So they will tell, okay, this should be work, this should, we can go with easy on that particular part, but these are the key things that should work in this particular functionality. So this is way you can double make sure. You got my
mm.
point. You are
Anyone
telling
got your
them
point?
these are the 10 points. Yeah, these are the 10 points we are focusing to test on different browsers. But if you want anything we are missing, just let us know. We will include it. Okay. Now, based on that, you can do the testing, right? You got my point, and the evidence will be always there. And now, as you do not have the resource, right? Sometimes it's not about the year of experience we carried. Okay, we have to do the testing as well. So I will join my team member as the one resource is not there. I will ask them, okay, these are the things which business thinks it is critical. I will do the testing. You just follow our strategy, go with the test case, collect the evidence. Okay, and I will do the exploratory testing from my point of view based on the requirement I have understood so far. So, like that approach, which will create the two impression. The first things, your team member will not think they are alone. Okay, my lead will be always there. You got my point.
Yeah, yeah,
And asking resource to stress down. Okay, it's a good option. It's depend on the resource, but I will just say okay, there are few things still remain. If you want to go home, you wish to go, you can go home. I will be there for a couple of hours and I will try to finish that testing. Now it's depend on the person, right? Who is really a good team member will definitely stay. Okay sir, I will be stay for 1 hour as well and I will try to complete. And sometimes people says okay sir, you can do and we gonna leave that's fine. But creating the example like that we will always help, because as a leader you have to stand out, you have to showcase your potential where when the team is lacking. You got
mm.
my, you no need to do these things every day, right? But when the
Correct.
critical situations comes, and those are the scenario where leader come up. You got my point. So leader need to showcase like that way. So those kind of things i will I will suggest ke people take a stand like that way, so that will help to avoid the unnecessary escalation and always keep your team out of the risk, out of the any escalation happen in future. Okay, so I think yeah, we are good. So Swapnal, we have thought about 1 hour call, but
Yeah,
we
yeah,
almost go for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and it's really nice to talk to you on this mock interview. And the discussion that we have done is really healthy. But after this call, I will call you on your mobile. We will have some further discussion on your things where you need improvement and where you do not want to think about, right? It's market. See, I would suggest in the first place, you are doing really good, right? But the sometimes if you do not uh, if you do not remain in the interviews, right? And that's why, because trust me, this kind of lack of confidence I also feel in my life as well, where I thought,
yeah,
okay, I need to be speak with somebody, okay, I need to talk to somebody. But sometimes you have to remain in the market. It's not about you are lacking on knowledge, right? You are lacking on the process, because nowadays the interview techniques has been changed, interview process has been changed, right? Why I ask you to share your screen, there are nothing I want to write a code, but when you share your screen, then another thought process come in your mind. Okay, okay, people get like afraid. Okay, I'm sharing my screen, they might go to ask me something. But always remain confidence even though you are sharing your screen, right? Be prepared on the stuffs that mostly be prepared on your resume rather than on the JD. Trust me,
correct,
if you know, most of the times interviewer will go with your resume. You got my point. Because
correct.
if based on their JD, if they have shortlisted you, then you are almost 80 or 90% matching with their JD. So
Mm.
they will talk about your resume most. Okay. And you are top notch on that part. You know things that you have done in your 22 year of experience very well. You are explaining in the right way as well with the key examples. So those part is really good. So the thing is that be on a call with the peoples, try to give as much as interviews you can, right? That is the only process will hit you to come back on the market. You got my
Correct, correct,
point?
correct, correct. Yeah,
Okay, and other things we will discuss on the call. Okay.
yeah. Thanks, Ankit. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks Swapnal. Yeah, yeah, take care, bye.
Take care. Bye. Mm.